Hi, I'm Ella.
And I'm Julia, and we're cousins, and we're doing this podcast because
Yes, because I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer last year now, so in August 2024. And as part of that crazy journey, I kind of discovered that it was really difficult to find other people like myself going through the same thing. I mean, I know that there will be, thousands and
yeah,
thousands of people out there going through just this. But it just felt to me like everything on the platforms I would look at, such as Instagram, everything was kind of geared up for breast cancer primarily,
yeah,
which is understandable. It's kind of one of the most common types of cancer. And it probably affects people who are kind of willing to talk about it and share their stories. But yeah, I found it just a bit difficult that I couldn't find anyone to relate to, really.
yeah,
So that's
isolating.
yeah. So that's kind of where the idea came from, to kind of just talk about everything that happened. And well, it's still happening.
Yeah, it's
um
definitely still happening.
I know. And yeah, the things I'm going through, just in case one person listens to it and finds some kind of
Comfort.
comfort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like company, like a bit of comfort, like you're not on your own, like kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I
exactly.
don't know anyone else who's had ovarian cancer
No, I don't.
personally.
I don't either. And I think part of the, and it's just not talked about as much. It's not screened for like something like cervical cancer is screened for, and we all get, told don't skip your smear tests, which obviously is
That's true.
majorly important. But I think some people think that smear tests,
Covers it all. To be fair, I
yeah,
did. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it. I just thought that you kind of just think if you get cancer, you just will know somehow. But how did
yeah.
you first find out?
So I found out it wasn't through a smear test, because yeah, they wouldn't have picked it up that way.
Yeah.
I it's kind of a weird variety of reasons. I'd been having irregular periods for quite a long time, I suppose, and just generally feeling quite bloated, which,
Which
yeah,
a lot of women our age are going through that anyway.
yeah,
So
100%.
you just think it's your hormones, your body's changing.
Yeah. I mean, all of
Right.
my friends that I spoke to, oh, I've got irregular periods and oh, I feel really bloated.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone would go, yeah,
It's
oh, yeah,
perimenopause.
exactly.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I feel exactly the same. And, you know, it's not necessarily something that you'd go to your doctor for urgently, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
And I, as a kind of aside, I'd had this relentless cough at the beginning of last year. And I don't know if you remember, everyone talked about like the 100-day cough, and
Yeah.
a lot of people had it, and it would wake me up in the night and I couldn't breathe. And so I was very focused on that
Right.
and trying to find out, just to try and get something from the doctor to stop it.
Yeah.
And that never happened. Like it was just a viral thing, I think.
But that was taking you most of your focus, not your dodgy periods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with one of the doctors, because it was an online appointment. And at the end, they always say, and anything else I can help you with today? And I said, yes, actually, because I thought, right, I'll now say about my periods being kind of heavy and just sort of all over the place. And she said, oh, well, if it's a completely different thing, then we have to have another appointment. So I
Right.
actually did, and I booked in another appointment straight away, and they referred me for an ultrasound
Right.
in the first instance. So
Yeah.
that was like my the first thing I did. So I had an ultrasound. They couldn't see anything in my from outside. I think I'd done that thing where I'd drunk the wrong amount. Like you're supposed to drink this perfect amount of liquid
Right.
where you're not lying there thinking I'm actually going to piss myself.
Yeah.
And versus like you've not drunk enough and therefore
So
they
you felt like you were
can't
going to piss
see.
yourself.
I felt a bit like I was going to piss myself, but they told me I hadn't drunk enough. So no. But anyway, so they end up doing an internal ultrasound,
Yeah.
and actually, right there and then, the nurse said to me, "Oh, I can see that you've got this like cyst. It's a big cyst,
Right.
but I can see there's some like white tissue inside it." She said cysts normally show up as black because they're filled with fluid.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not great to have
She
some
told
kind
you
of
that right there and then.
yeah, there and
legs.
then. Yeah. And I was like, right, okay. Himbo. Yeah, himbo. Yeah. Yeah. So she said it there and then, and you're like, oh God, like, okay. That's okay, that's kind of news. And I remember, you know, they always have like a chaperone
Yeah.
in there with, so you've always got like the
A
person
witness.
yeah, basically. And when I left, she said to me, take care.
Oh God.
And I thought, oh no, like, you know, you look at these things all the time, you must know what you're seeing on that screen.
Yeah.
She was really like thorough. She
But
like,
in all fairness, sometimes those people who are, because I've been in recently having my bits looked at, and they can be really like that. Like when you leave, like they can that person, the witness person, whatever they're called.
Yeah, I think it's a chaperone.
Chaperone.
I think, yeah,
they can be quite like that, like over
what nice,
overly nice. But like in
I know, but you know when you're like
your mind,
yeah, and I thought, oh, I don't know. Anyway, I was a bit like, oh God, there's something in this.
Yeah.
So that was that appointment, and then I was kind of just waiting to be referred to a gynecologist. So I got referred to the gynecologist and went in, and he was like, how can I help you?
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, okay. He hadn't seen my notes from the
Right.
ultrasound.
Of course.
I know, exactly. So it was like, all right, we start all over again. So I explained to him about the periods, and his kind of answer was, all right, we'll give you a
coil, Marina coil.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's sort of not what I've come here for. Like, I don't actually think I want a coil. And what about the cyst? And he was like, well, what cyst? And so I had luckily copy and pasted the report from the ultrasound and sent it to my mum on WhatsApp. So I was able to show him the report by showing him this message to my mum, where it obviously said, you know, you've got a large cyst, and it looked like there was some solid tissue. So I said to him, I want an MRI scan, really. And he was like, okay, I'll send you for an MRI scan. And then when you come back, we'll talk about the coil, and I'll probably have to take some sort of biopsy that I can't remember the name, hysteroscopy or something it was called. So I was like, right, okay. Then went off waiting for the MRI scan. And it took a while to come through. And I think it was delayed a bit for whatever reason. So I went on holiday. We're talking about August now. And actually on that holiday, now I look back, I'm like, oh my God, I was so bloated. Like I remember lying on the sunbed thinking, I can't even see my toes over like Jesus. Bloated belly. Yeah. But even then, like didn't really think too much of it.
Yeah. We kind of don't in a way. You can part of you does freak out, but I think you kind of like you can push that to the side.
Yeah, exactly. And it was all inclusive. So I was eating shit like so, not being able to see your toes is not that unusual. Yeah, so it was, I mean, I was grateful that I was able to get on holiday, but came back, and the day after I came back had the MRI scan, which was yeah, I don't know if you ever had an
I
MRI
have,
scan. Yeah.
but they put that liquid stuff in you. That
Yeah,
is
well
that
they
the MRI one? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they put, it was Buscopan actually. They were trying to inject into me. They
Right.
couldn't do it because my veins are so bad. Like they literally couldn't find a vein.
Oh,
So they're like, okay, we'll try and do it without the Buscopan. Just try and keep as still as you can.
oh my God.
So I was like, okay. So I'm lying there, like
Great.
trying to keep so still. But the worst thing was they gave me headphones because obviously it's really loud. And they were like, oh, what music do you want to listen to? And I was like, oh, I don't know, just like six music or something. Because I thought that probably sounded kind of cool. Then, oh my God, it was like, I think it was Marianne Hobbs or something. No offense to her, but my God, the weirdest music was playing. It was so fucking
Like melancholy.
like, I don't know, just weird,
Like I'm in this fucking thing. Try not to move.
Yeah, try not to move. But all I could think was, I hope they can't hear this music as well, because they're going to think I'm really weird. I was thinking, why didn't I just ask for like Taylor Swift or something like that? But anyway, that wasn't the main point of that. But yeah, had the MRI scan,
It's
and
weird what goes through your head.
I know when you're just listening to that droning. But yeah, came out of that and was fine. I obviously didn't move very much, so that's good. Had the scan on whatever day of the week it was, like the Wednesday, and then I was due to have the follow-up meeting with the gynecologist 2.5 weeks after that. I got an email from him over the weekend saying, well, from his secretary saying he wants to speak to you at 9 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and it was a bank holiday.
And this is the same guy that was like, "Oh, I'll just give you a coil."
Yeah, this is
right.
The same guy. Yeah. Who then I had a phone call with him, and he was like, "Yes, I've looked at the MRI scan, and you've got this big cyst on one ovary, and you've got a small cyst on the other ovary, and they've both got some solid tissue in, and it's very likely that it's going to be cancer." So I was like, fuck, yeah, okay. Obviously, major news.
Were you on your own, or was Chris with you?
I think Chris might have just like walking the dog or something. And so he came back to me just completely like
oblivious. For the podcast, Chris is Ella's husband.
Yes, sorry, yeah. Yeah, so he just came back to me like bawling my eyes out, just like, what do I do? But then actually, so from that point on, the gynecologist, who's also the surgeon, sort of really stepped up his game, and everything happened at like 100 miles per hour. He said he was going to book me in for surgery, and then I'd have chemotherapy after that. Or that was what he was expecting to happen. But they have this like team meeting with all the surgeons. So like the next day after his call, I had to go and have a CT scan. What else did I have to have? Blood tests. And then he was going to have this multidisciplinary team meeting at Adam Brooks Hospital in Cambridge, and they would decide, like, actually from all of the scans, all of the information, what does it look like and what does that mean? And then so I had a call with him the following Tuesday after all of those scans, and yeah, he said they all agreed it was expected ovarian cancer. They need to remove what they can, and then they would do chemotherapy after that to try and kill off any other like of the microscopic cells. He said looked like there was some growing on my bowel.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so the chances are I'd have to have bowel resection as well.
That was it.
And I might have, when I wake up from the surgery, I might have a stoma bag as well, which that really upset me.
Yeah, that was the
Like,
most. When I would think about what was happening, I was like, that's got to be weirdly enough probably like the worst, most
yeah, it
upsetting.
was, because it affects everyday life
Yeah.
so much. But so they had to bring in a bowel surgeon as well. So had a meeting with him, and oh my God, he was so nice. He was so nice.
Yeah.
Chris came with me, and he sort of put me at ease so much. Like, he drew a little diagram about what they would be expecting to do. There was then an awkward moment when I had to go into a side room, so he put his finger up my bum. This is the other side of the film. He wasn't my chaperone. There was a different chaperone for that occasion. But yeah. So yeah, that happened. And then he was just really nice. And I remember him saying to Chris as we left, she'll be all right. And I thought, oh.
But you need a little bit of that from someone that you can just, almost like a parent when you're a kid.
You do. You just want
like,
someone
okay,
to say,
you take control.
yeah, and you
you're
want
going to be all right.
Yeah, and actually, the two surgeons. So, the gynae surgeon, Krish, and the bowel surgeon, who was called Hemon, like together as a double act, they were great, because Krish couldn't have been more like cutthroat, kind of very, these are the basics, like, this is what we're going to do. And I'd be like, please tell me everything's going to be fine. And he's like, no. I mean, he didn't actually say that, but
it's just very matter of fact.
Very matter of fact, very like completely focused on the job, which, that's all you want. I would never say I would want another surgeon.
Yeah.
Like, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And then Hemon was also a completely amazing surgeon, but the kind of kind-hearted, good guy, which was just really, really nice to have them both. So yeah, then I had to have, well, I got booked in for the surgery. They tried to book me into the private hospital. They couldn't. It's too complicated. I can't even name all of the things that they removed, but they took out, obviously, my womb, my uterus, my fallopian tubes, my ovaries, my omentum, which is, as the surgeon Krish always described it, a fatty curtain.
Oh yeah, your fatty curtain.
Fatty curtain. Like, I don't need a fatty curtain. Took that out, and part of my peritoneum, and then obviously there was the question of what would be needed to taken out, as far as my bowel was concerned as well. So yeah, all of this information.
So what did they take out of your bowel thing?
No, they didn't take.
Oh, they didn't. Okay.
No, they didn't.
Right.
So they were able to remove the cancer from my bowel without having to do any kind of resection surgery, which was amazing. Yeah, so before got booked in for surgery, like, I had 3 weeks, got signed off work because I was just, my head was just all over the place, as you can imagine. The last thing I could focus on was work. And to be fair to work, I'd said to them, I'm not going to be able to do anything for ages.
Yeah.
So I want to actually enjoy myself while I can. So we went away, like, to the coast, and it was really lovely. And I went out all the time until I realised I shouldn't be going out all the time, because I was about to go in for surgery. And then I started staying in a bit more. Trying to avoid getting a virus. Yeah. So yeah, that was that. I had to have the pre-surgery thing where I had an ECG, and then they told me I had a weird heart thing as well, like a weird heartbeat. I can't remember what it was called now, but I was literally, like, the day I walked out of there, I was like,
Or like a murmur or
Not
something.
like it's called like a bundle branch
Oh,
something. You know, when you're like, oh, this is it, I might as well just
yeah,
kill me
fuck
now
off.
because
Yeah,
what else can go wrong? And then I had to go for an echocardiogram at the hospital as well. So like an ultrasound of your heart.
Oh my God.
Luckily that was all right.
Right.
And then had to do the bowel prep thing as well, where you drink that drink and then basically just have the shits for the whole day.
I
And
remember
then
you saying
that
that.
was horrible. Yeah. And then I went in for the surgery, which is probably a different story.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's like a nice little introduction.
Yeah, sorry, it's really long.
No, it's not. You're so. I remember I was sitting there like, wow, like, but obviously you've been through it, so you know exactly. But it's, I think that's a good, nice, clear of what you've been going for the beginning,
Yeah.
and then I think maybe next time we can talk about
The surgery,
the surgery, and then the diagnosis that they gave you after, because you didn't find out till after surgery, right?
No, so you get like your proper diagnosis. They don't really know until they've looked in there. So,
which to me, I didn't know, and I found that really horrible. Like I thought, fuck, you've got to wait until after surgery to find out. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it makes sense, but
yeah, I know,
I thought they'd like take some blood, and no,
no. But yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
You'd think so, but no, until they like actually open you up,
that's when they
haven't got any idea. So yeah, we can talk about the surgery.
Yeah,
the next time. But yeah, I remember telling you and obviously having to talk to the family about it, and that was a really hard.
Yeah. Well, that can be another episode as well. Talk about how you tell people.
Yeah.
People's reactions.
Yeah.
What you, because that's in itself is like another thing. It's a lot for you to deal with.
Yes.
It's not just about having cancer, is it? It's everything
that
comes along with that.
Yeah, and it's how people react to it as well, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But in a good way, in the main, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Should we end it there?
Should we wrap it up?
First episode.
How exciting.
So if anyone is listening, thank you. And we hope that it's, of some kind of help or some kind of something. Yeah. Just some comfort to you if you're on the same journey or and we'll have to come up with like an email or something people can email with their own. Got the Instagram account. Yes, people can contact us through there. Brilliant, exciting. Oh, thanks, Julia. Thanks, Ella.